Quiet Future, Reading 5. John, wake up. I need you to lend a hand with breakfast. Ooh, what? Me? Yes, John, you sweetheart. The sunshine is upon you. Where's my mommy? John, come with me. You're safe. A fine day awaits you. So let us pray. Okay. Dear God, we are all thine. Let us try to do what you say. And if we fail, please, let us trust thy will be done on this bright day. In nomine Patre et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Margareta, must I rise? I'm so tired. John, please. It's okay. The day is new. Just come and help me. This work will ease your troubles. It's your help I need. The day's waiting for you to seize it. Just help me with this small weed patch, and you can go out and explore my farm. Come back so I can feed you an early supper by 4. John wanders out to walk the land, free of any thought of the poor boy he chased. He was lent a hand from Margareta, and so let go of his grudge against the boy. And as he explored, he felt free. No nagging thoughts so persistent and wearisome. He heard wind blow past his ears, and with no relent John trundled down a path well worn. Above, the thick green firmament. Branches of ancient trees adorned the green sky, some twisted and bent, some smooth. The trunks jut from the torn ground in a far-reaching ascent in the air for a sustenance for self and others. Its descent for nutrients in the expanse of soil provides it with support, and a type of continuance with life of the subsurface court, a kingdom of its very own, partaking in import-export. In time, John approaches a stone fence, a little more than waist-high, bisected by the path. Thick stone pillars on both fence ends rise high, carved as trees with deeply grooved bark. On them, deep letters signify the land beyond to be a park. It bears the name Butterfly Hill. Remembering a time of stark desolation, let your love spill in the world so all can see. And please, do not let yourself kill the truth, wisdom, and the beauty found in every organism, whether animal, bug, or tree. See the rainbow from the prism of nature. She's many in one. Once, we humans were in schism with all nature under the sun. Great cities sprawled from west to east. In all history, there was none to compare with this time. The best in human creativity around our earth was manifest. Bustling, non-stop activity, knowledge swelling with little control. Humans fell in captivity, while leaders neglected their role to serve and protect as shepherd. Many in this time saw the toll on our planet. They were not heard. Koyaanisqatsi. Death ensued. The culture of death. The absurd notion of endless growth imbued into society's fabric was the chief ideal pursued. The consequences were tragic. Goods were consumed and produced as if they were made by magic. The countries of power induced poor nations into compliance. If not, their leaders were seduced or forced to join the alliance. Natives and their sacred land were exploited. Their self-reliance, ground in nature, and their culture, both denuded by the onslaught of heedless growth, forced to inure to prevailing customs, taught their ways were inferior. With time this insanity caught. Nations all sought superior positions over each other. Their leaders held ulterior motives, viewed their own as other people, sold the rights of their land so some could profit from Mother Earth. Utterly unconstrained and willfully blind and ignorant, corporations conjured demand to lead people into flagrant overconsumption until we, like Earth, were left void and vacant, the death of birth. But humans see beyond the now, present or past. The future unfolds endlessly, and the shadow long ago cast disappears in the coming night. when starlight comes to shine at last into the eyes of those with sight, to see all spacetime as their home, bequeathed by those who chose to fight and kept us from the catacomb, so humans may forever seek the novel as through space they roam. John steps back, feeling a bit weak. Such strange accounts he's never heard. Of what era does this sign speak? He has not learned of such a word as Mother Earth, space-time, prism. How strange. They seem rather absurd. How can humans be in schism with nature? And such weird phrases about a mere organism. Truth and wisdom? What in blazes does a bug or tree have to teach about wisdom? It amazes John. What does this sign mean to preach? It's talk of death, a type of war, seeming to have a global reach. No talk of battle, blood, or gore, just of the conquest and control of kingdoms and their subjects for the gain of land across the whole earth. But it seems some people rose up against the king's court and stole back the power because they chose to fight. Then they just roamed through space. A billowing puff of smoke blows past John. He turns around to face a man wearing long hair and a beard, a pleasant smile, not out of place amongst these old trees. It seems weird to John that he doesn't feel scared. Much of his time here he has feared something or another. He's fared quite well on his own in the Rose, this interesting place. Compared to his home, it's different. He knows it's different, but how? He likes it. He feels at ease. This feeling grows with people he meets. He likes it. Here he feels a little less tense. This man kindly asks him to sit on a neighboring stump with dense moss and lichen. The man displays a humble knowledge and prescience about the world, and he portrays the world to John to help elicit a comprehensive view that plays in his mind. It is infinite, stretching beyond Renfrey's kingdom. He finds it doesn't inhibit his imagination. His glum homeland walled him in, but he's free here, away from the burdensome vows and decrees of King Renfrey. So the world goes on beyond the wall. Why is it that I cannot see the wall in the Rose? That's your call, friend. May you not see it again, though. Oh, okay. Thanks. Not at all, the man says pleasantly, and then offers John a smoke. Wearily, John takes a puff, coughing hard when the smoke fills his lungs. Merrily, the man laughs and takes back his pipe, continues smoking cheerily, as John is attempting to wipe the taste from his lips. A tall tree is noticed by him. Such a type as this he's never seen. He can't see its crown, it's so tall, and its girth he can't comprehend. Could it be something in the smoke that gave birth to this sight? No, certainly not. Along this little curve of earth, spread before John in his eyeshot, is a world that slowly reveals itself as John breaks the clot that his old home culture conceals. The grandeur of this tree and all the rest he sees as his mind peels back the layers of that old wall offers him a new perspective he's only glimpsed since his downfall. There was not an evocative atmosphere in his kingdom for eliciting such perceptive thoughts, as if there's a matador taunting a bull, only to kill it when it charges to the roar of approval from the crowd. Still, as the old forest surrounding him, John lets all the forest spill into his mind. The abounding energies of light waves and sound enter his brain. Smells are pounding his nose and tongue, the heat around him hugging his skin. And inside, John feels he's a part of the ground. A feeling cascades he can't hide. A total clarity of mind. No thoughts within to override the streaming light waves intertwined with space-time his body perceives like an instrument well refined to process energy that weaves through matter. Its condensed sibling who, at some point from the Higgs, leaves. I want to see those rats nibbling at the heads of Hunter and Tom. Their sentence drew forth no quibbling from them. They were fully aplomb in their death, with no fealty. You'll be in charge of the pogrom of all those who are known to be Hunter's followers, and find some innocents and try them guilty. Let fear and paranoia come like a cold, blinding white blizzard over them. They are all so dumb. I am king. I am their wizard. I am in control of their fate. They are as seed in a gizzard. They know not how I complicate their lives only to suit my ends. I instill in them love and hate. That makes me their god. Their will bends to mine. Upon the highest pike place their ugly heads. It portends the fate of those who would dare dike my destiny. They'll see the heads of Tom and Hunter. It will strike fear in them, and as the fear spreads, I will reveal a brave new hope for my ignorant underbreds. Their trust in their gods is a rope around their necks. All the ancient gods of technologies they grope for, those of Abba's Testament and Jesus the God-man, the shrine of the spaceman, the monument of Darwin, Newton, and Einstein, and all the lesser gods of space and planet they hold divine. They believe in them and embrace the myth of their omnipotence and omniscience without a trace or shred of proof, no evidence whatsoever. Yes, Lord, it's quite amusing. Supreme indolence is prevalent among the poor and faceless. It's quite laughable, really. Yes, Cromwell, quite a roar. Quite, my lord. Unbelievable to believe in a universe unending. Inconceivable to think other worlds exist. Worse still are the invisible fields said to hold us down. They immerse the air and sky. Some act as shields, they say, from death rays from the sun. Honestly, to think the sun yields some sort of harmful effect, spun out of a child's fantasy tale. The little sun who takes a run across the sky. It's a real whale of a tale. I say, Cromwell, their beliefs are telltale of their ignorance. They betray their lack of imagination, really. Upon their knees they pray to those dead gods. Adoration of the doctrine and the statues of these men. Pure fabrication by our great lineage to use the naive mind frame of their dim subjects. My Cromwell, what a ruse! Quite, my lord, quite. One cannot swim through the so-called Higgs space ocean, and cherubim and seraphim are nowhere around. And therein lies their fault. All of them believe what they don't see. It is akin to a fairy tale, make-believe. It's child's play. And it's why you rule over them. They cannot conceive your majesty. They are a stool used for the sole purpose to reach that which the ordinary fool could never grasp, nor one can teach them. They lack the capacity, the knowledge simply cannot breach their numb skulls of vacuity. Right you are, Cromwell, right you are. Control requires mendacity. If they must believe that a star is a distant world, so be it. That their God-man came from afar heaven to save them, so be it. Or that thousands of years ago science wizards magically split the mythic atom, and its glow was brighter than the sun at noon, and from it death did grow on a warm, lazy afternoon. Melting heat and fireballs explode, and from the desert there did blow the unheard whisper of man's ode, as on his front porch he did swing, sipping lemonade, his abode ensconced within the fiery wing of the unholy Trinity, waiting quiet for it to bring this bold king to his destiny. Ah, Cromwell, such power of old! If such things were true, I'd sell my kingdom and all the lands I hold. My lord, that is quite the statement. My Crumfell, you fail to behold the power of what this myth meant. The ancients brought death to mankind? Prophecy, Crumfell, and I am meant to fulfill it. You'll help me find the weapon of this long-lost lore. But did we not just say this kind of story is pure nonsense? Or, forgive me, Lord, I did not hear true. Think, you dolt! It's metaphor. It's written so as to appear as a myth designed to unite. It has all the elements: fear, love, heroics, gods, and the fight of good and evil. Analyze the story under reason's pure light, and it will help open your eyes to the magnificent pattern. Aye, it came as quite a surprise. I never expected to learn that I'd become the chosen one. It took a long time to discern this. It was a battle hard won, but in a vision it was clear, and now I see everything's done for me. I need not have the fear that I may be wrong any more. From the west the king will appear to search out the nuclear core. It is to be his destiny. With it he shall even the score and bring all to eternity. Under the full moon he'll be born in the last remaining city of old. By the oath he'll be sworn to defend the vows against those seeking to see the nation torn into many. All who oppose the uniting force will not be spared. All will be considered foes. By his sword they will be set free in the rows of death, and the king shall bring all to a unity in the dust of the silent spring. I am that king, dear Cromfell. It is I, Renfrey, whom they sing of. It is I who casts the spell over my subjects. They follow my will. Only I can compel them to obey. They are hollow bodies, hollow minds, but I fill them with all they're told to swallow. The time has now come to fulfill the prophecy. I see it now. This so-called nuclear core will be found deep in the rose. The vow shall be upheld. We must attack, with all that reason can allow. But first, have my guards go and track down Paul's sister. She was so cute when Paul's head rolled. She turned her back. How precious, trying to refute my actions. Rebuke? I know what I meant, you ass. I'll make you mute for rebuking your king. I'll cut out your tongue. Now go and mount those heads. I want to see those heads jut from the gate, such that they'll impose on all who enter. Understand? Well, John, did you ever suppose things weren't always as they are, and maybe different in the past? Of course, Margareta. The grand wizards of the atom and the vast numbers of lesser gods, they made the world in the deep ancient past. All of the astronomers laid out the sun, moons, and star. Einstein and, Isaac Newton forbade them to ever escape the line they trace across the sky. Oh, and there was Darwin. He turned sunshine into life, just as Jesus planned. Jesus turned Darwin's life into all mankind under the command of Abba. And, then men grew disobedient. And then right before Abba and the gods threw all men to hell out of their sight, Jesus said, I'll go in their place. Then they all got into a fight because they thought that would disgrace Jesus. But he said he loves us and he was willing to displace us. But they wouldn't let Jesus do it. So they all made a deal. All mankind must be virtuous and obey the king to repeal their sentence of death. Is that right? Yeah, and, thank you, John. I feel I've heard enough. Suppose things might be different than you've been taught. Okay. Yes, well, you see, a light seen on a walk in the dark ought to give one hope against the gloom. In the dark ancient forest fraught with shadows and monsters that loom behind every tree, stalking you. If you allow that light some room to flourish, it can change your view. So light can grow? Well, in a way. What way? In the sense that you or I or, well, anyone may see a light or an idea, John, that can so alter the way one sees the world that all of the things you knew before fade away, like sunlight flowing into a night, constantly racing its way around Earth. I'm not sure I get it. What I'm trying to say is what you've been taught is a lie. What you've told me about the past is a false account. But please try to hear me out, John. You can cast off what I tell you if you are not open to it. So the last thing you said is true. In a far-off time, God's Son Jesus came here to remind us we bear a scar, and that we do not have to fear. He loves us and wants us to know that throughout life it may appear he's not there, but he came to show us his love and to fulfill his Father's promise. And even though throughout everyone's life there is suffering, we must be strong and trust in God's word, for his Son is the living word. He suffered and loved till the end. Now, Einstein you spoke of. He helped us expand our knowledge and helped refine it concerning time, space, and light. He, along with the others, helped to shine light on mysteries that we might not otherwise have known. They were not gods. They gave us an insight into nature. Things were a blur. What things? I'll get there. Just listen. Mankind at this time was not sure of many things. Why not? Well, in those times, man began to ask why. Why? Yes. When an observation was made that would all but defy explanation, some would employ the method of science and pry into its secrets. A good ploy could be concocted to help test ideas about it. Great joy was had by those who would invest their lives to this endeavor. But pain and frustration hits the best of them. I suppose it's just what comes with the trials of life. Oh, it's quite a story. But I'll shut my mouth. Come here. I want to show you my collection. Collection? Of what? You'll see. I'll have you know there is likely not a question you can think of that cannot be answered. Your imagination is about to soar. Let me see. Margareta takes John to a round room in her house. With a strange key she opens the door. An odd sound came from the key as it unlocked the door. It rose straight up from the ground into the ceiling. The room, stocked floor to ceiling with books, except where 3 seamless windows rose, shocked John. The room, a near sphere, was kept so clean and sterile, yet so lush. Strange plants, some thick, others thin, leapt and crept throughout the room. A brush against one would cause serious pain. The room was filled with a hush. It was so peaceful. Various metallic objects and some fake metal gadgets with curious buttons technosmiths used to make back in the kingdom were arranged neatly through this dry room. The fake metal things were used for deranged, terrible things back in Renfrey's land. It is good John is estranged from that land. He can seize a new life here and even learn of these Brobdingnagian trees.